I'd like to share a story about Charles Darwin with you. It's a positive story. Oh, I could focus, of course, on negatives about his life. After all, Darwin is not very well liked by Christians, and I'm a very strong Christian. I could talk about some negative things like his 5-year voyage to the Galapagos and the vicinity, where he unilaterally came up with the notions of natural selection and survival of the fittest. These pillars of his theory were based on nothing but his personal, unscientific observations, all by himself, the untried, untested thoughts of one man, not a group of scientists. Or I could talk to you about his marrying his first cousin and how inbreeding left 5 of his 10 children with great birth defects. In fact, they died prematurely because of it. I could talk about how he dropped out of medical school and he had no aptitude for it, for either medicine or for science. He made it a bizarre point also to eat some of the animals that he'd been studying in the Galapagos and in other places, which would explain why he suffered some very chronic, undiagnosed diseases of the time. He had aches and pains, vision problems, vomiting, skin issues, and on and on and on. Obviously because he had partaken of eating some of these animals that carried some very potentially lethal diseases. The armadillo carries the leprosy bacteria. The iguana carries the salmonella bacteria. It's surprising that a man like Darwin, so well educated, didn't know that. But instead of talking about all those negative things, I'd like to share a very positive story about it, one I'm sure that you have not heard. And please, don't misconstrue my sharing the story with the fact that I somehow support Darwin's evolution theory. Hardly. I rue the day that William Jennings Bryan lost his repudiation of evolution in the Scopes trials. Had he had the trial today, he would have won it very easily because the facts of evolution have turned out to be baseless in many ways and fantasy in other ways. Some of them are prefabricated lies. And today, many states are kicking evolution out of their school curriculum and replacing it with creation curriculum. But all that notwithstanding, since the theory of evolution has been taught in our schools, it has done nothing to better our society. In fact, just the opposite is true. It has caused millions to turn away from God. It has caused unbelief about the Bible account of creation. It has caused many Christians to doubt their faith. Two big contributors to crime in our society and to social chaos altogether is people who don't know God become immoral and become unethical and cause many of the problems in our society. But that is not what I wanted to address. I find myself trying to go back to the negative on Darwin. I don't want to do that. I've got a positive story that I want to share, and I'll get to it right now. Darwin realized the negative impact of his evolution theory would have on religious beliefs and consequently on society itself. He once wrote to a minister in his own hometown and he said, "Your services in just a few months have done more for society than we have done in evolution in the last decade." We, speaking of evolutions, he says, we have been unable to correct even one single social woe. No drunkard has turned from his drink. No prostitution has been saved. Prostitutes have been saved from prostitution. Not one thief has turned his booty in. Not one morsel of food has gone to the poor and needy because of evolution's work. But through your work, talking to the pastor, the minister, through your work of faith, much has been accomplished. Much good has been done. Several years later, Darwin visited a little island off South America called Tierra del Fuego. The locals there were given to savagery, debauchery, to lewd conduct. Darwin said it was a horrifying place. He left it in disgust, promising never to return, and he thought to himself that these people had missed the evolution train altogether. Years later, he was invited back to the island, and oddly, he went. And he found the people to be civilized and to be kind and to be less than he had expected, of course, or more than he had expected. A missionary had worked with him, with the people, in the absence of Darwin, and had taught them Bible morals and Bible ethics. He was moved by the power of God through this missionary. Darwin began to regularly contribute to the mission there. Not a tithe or an offering, but he just decided to start donating money to it because the work there was accomplishing much more for society than anything in evolution. Now, there's much I could say about this story. I could draw some really good spiritual truth from it, but I think this is one of those stories where it carries a sense of obviousness, and I'll let you draw from it what you will. All I will say is this: Darwin was not a bad man. He just had some very bad ideas. Ideas that led mankind astray, and the devil was able to use to keep people from learning about God. And Darwin recognized this later in life, and he regretted it. It's too bad that he didn't recognize it sooner. Things could have been much different. Well, I hope this is a story that you hadn't heard before, and I hope that you'll take it and increase your faith by it. Thanks again for stopping by.